Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Litsoc. And for the second week in a row, you see me introducing it rather than Miss Huntley. Miss Huntley should definitely be here today. She's just running late again. Don't know why. There you go. So, this week we're talking about bibliotherapy, which we were talking about again just before the camera started rolling. Can someone remind me what's bibliotherapy?
Books you read when you're stressed.
That's one possibility.
Wellbeing.
Books that we read for well-being, yes. Books to read when you're stressed, books when you need a bit of a pick-me-up. And this is quite newly arrived in the library. It is a book called Bibliotherapy, The Healing Power of Reading. Okay, so I'm just going to read to you how does bibliotherapy work from it. And the author, Bijal Shah, has basically broken it down into 3 points. So you read... The bibliotherapy works in this way primarily. Identification, the reader identifies with and connects with the text or relevant character. Catharsis, the text enables the reader to connect with their own emotions and release these, allowing for a cathartic response. And last but not least, insight. The text provides insight into the reader's own situation based on the issues faced by the character and allows the individual to consolidate this insight and learn in a therapeutic fashion. Got it? So maybe as I was saying these things, you might be recognizing in the examples that you've all brought to the table to talk about, yeah? Now I'm going to I think I'll start off because I'm going to talk about this book. Has anyone heard of this?
Oh, I love that book.
You've read it? Oh, excellent. Good. Yeah, we have a lot of his books because have you all heard of Matt Haig, right? Yes, lots of nods. Good. There's a good chance you will have heard of him because he's written for children and for adults. His books are up there at the top, and we have loads. This one, The Midnight Library, is a fantastic book. We have a quote directly listed from it, written upstairs. I think it's on the 2nd floor. You know, we've got all these quotes pasted around the school. There's one about if you aren't authentic, if you try to succeed at something, if you don't stick to your strengths, then you are bound to fail. You need to be your true self. Don't try to succeed in the thing that you're not strong in. I'm putting it very crudely, but yeah, that's a quote directly listed from this book because it's a great book. Now, Annabelle, you said you read it. Anyone else read it?
I might have.
You might have. Annabelle, what's the basic premise? What's the basic plot of this book?
It's about a lady and she is it a spoiler? The first book.
To give a setup, it's not really a spoiler. The premise.
She has like infinite life. Well, she goes
How?
Through her. Well, she dies. What?
Does she? But yeah, go on, keep going.
And she then goes into this library, kind of where she can choose the lives if she did certain things earlier on in her life, like whether she'd still what certain things would have changed, and then she can live those lives. Yes,
exactly. So yeah, basically, so Nora is the main character, and she's in a kind of limbo, and limbo is sort of represented by a library, and the library is, if you pick this book, you get to see what you would have done if you had taken this decision in your life. So regret is a very big common theme. I mean, Mrs. Stone and I are perhaps a bit older, and so perhaps have got the ideas of regrets, but everyone has. I don't think there's such a thing as a person who has got regrets, and those of us who have regrets, we look back on our lives, we think, if only I had done this instead. And maybe some of you, when you get out of an exam, for instance, you might think to yourself, oh, if only I had done that question first, or if only. But there's only so much you can do, and so essentially, yes, she gets to see in the form of a library. If I had done this instead, I would have lived life this way. So a couple of examples: she could have been a champion swimmer in another life, but for whatever reason she didn't keep it up. She could have gone backpacking around Australia with her best friend in another life, but for whatever reason that didn't happen. But it's like, would it necessarily have been better? Would you become as well-rounded an individual just because a wish you had has come true? Now, there's a reason I wanted to start with this, because it's pertinent as to why we chose bibliotherapy today. So this is the very opening of the book, okay? 19 years before she decided to die, didn't actually die, but before she decided to die, so that's what we were getting at, Nora Seed sat in the warmth of the small library at Hazeldean School Library, in the town of Bedford. She stared at a chessboard on a low table. Nora, dear, it's natural to worry about your future, said the librarian, Mrs. Elm, her eyes glimmering like sunshine on frost. Mrs. Elm made her first move, a night hopping over the neat row of white pawns. Of course you're going to be worried about the exams, but you could be anything you want to be, Nora. Think of all that possibility. It's exciting. Yes, I suppose it is. A whole life in front of you. A whole life. You could do anything, live anywhere, somewhere a bit less cold and wet. Nora pushed a pawn forward 2 spaces. I'll stop there. I don't want to read too much. But basically, that's the setup, you know, with her whole life ahead of her. And, of course, she feels like she didn't fulfill things. But, like I said, there is a life-affirming message at this. Even though she revisits aspects of her life and, oh, yeah, that could be better, overall she realises, not necessarily. So, yeah. So, if you ever feel regret, this is a good one to turn to. Okay, but I'll start with that. But if everyone's feeling a bit worried about exams, just remember about everything that's going to happen to you beyond your exams. Okay? Right, okay. So that's me. Who would like to go next? Yes? Okay, up you come then. No, I think Miss Huntley might not be coming, you know, folks. By the way, she did tell me she was feeling a bit unwell, so...
I'm not bringing the other books
to go home.
because I have talked about them before, but I do read those a lot. Okay, I'm talking about Percy Jackson because it's like one of the first like book series that I read. Probably, I don't know. I read it like years and years and years ago, probably like year 1 or year 2, and I really loved it. And I watched the movies and I was disappointed like everyone else. And then like I watched the TV show and I did love it like everyone else. And it's so good because it's like really chill, and like him as like the narrator, he's really chill as well, and his internal monologue's really funny. And so if you're having like a stressful time, he navigates all these like really difficult situations, but he's just like laughing about it the whole time. And so it's like really chill to read about.
Would you say he is someone that you can identify with directly? Percy Jackson himself?
Yeah, probably no. My friends say that the person I'm most similar to is Nico, and he's like just this really depressed kid. So that makes me a bit sad sometimes, but yeah, but he's really funny. And the first series is probably the best, but in my opinion, the first 3 books are the best because they have the least high stakes. Because like in the last 2, there are really high stakes and those people die and stuff. I won't like spoil, although I think everyone's read it. So except Annabelle. Except Annabelle.
I actually tried to read it, but I just didn't.
Genuinely how?
There is a character called Annabeth.
I know.
Is there not?
There is, and one of the camp directors, he always calls her Annabelle because he likes getting everyone's name wrong. So, yeah.
What a cruel person! He likes getting everyone's names wrong.
He's one of my favorite people because I've loads of people compare like the main guy Kyron like to Annabeth to Dumbledore from Harry Potter because like he never tells like any of the people he teaches like major things like prophecies that are going to happen in their lives, because before they go on quests they need to have like a prophecy, like see their prophecy to see how the quest is going to go, even though prophecies like you can't change them or anything, so they have to see see the prophecy. But then he sees prophecies about loads of the campers and he just doesn't tell them even if they're like vital, and he kind of like raises them and then is like, yeah, you might die tomorrow. so yeah, loads of people don't like him, but okay, I like the other one.
Okay, so you've read all of them. I've read Heroes of Olympus and the later series.
I've read every single book of his except I haven't read the most recent one in his newest series. It's like the Chalice of the Gods. Yeah. I read.
You read the Egyptian ones?
I read they were really good, and I read all the crossover ones as well.
So you read them all then?
So I've read them all. I haven't read his like the Daughters of the Deep thing, but I think that's not connected. Is it?
No, it's a new series. That's his most recent series.
Yeah. So yeah, that's so good, and I think everyone should read them because you can read as many as you want because like all of the books pretty much like close pretty like neatly, and because like they all happen in his like in the summer holiday. And also they're written to be really relatable to loads of people because it was written because I think his like son or something had ADHD, and it was like and then he makes like the characters, they all have ADHD because it's like to do with their whole half god thing, and so it's like, and so you like people who have ADHD can like recognize themselves more in the characters, and those of them are also like dyslexic and stuff.
Do you think it was ADHD/dyslexia/ whatever is your superpower? Do you think that's what he was doing there?
Yeah, like partially because it like helps them because he turns them like around because it's like loads of them are dyslexic because instead of reading English, they're like meant to be better at reading like Greek and stuff. Okay. And then like they have ADHD, so they'll be better at fighting because they won't be like standing still the whole time and being like, I don't know what I'm meant to do.
So they can dodge the punches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
One guy's just lactose intolerant though.
You mentioned that earlier about the biscuits.
Oh no, that's me.
Yeah, I know. Is that another thing you identify with, the lactose intolerance?
No, I'm thankfully not lactose intolerant. That would be really sad though. But yeah, it's really cool and and it's really inclusive as well because loads of the people are like LGBTQ plus and stuff, and there's loads of different races and stuff, and people from different times. So
there's a lot. There's a lot there. Now, obviously, it's very. You've all read.
I am.
You've all read it, right? You've all read. Mr. Stone hasn't read it, so tell him. What? Let's go around the table on why do we love Percy Jackson? You haven't read it, so I'll start with Samira. Why do you love Percy Jackson so much?
There is a lot of options, like a lot of different series, and basically what was just said. Everything what was just said.
So Alyssa hit the nail on the head. Look at that, Alyssa.
I'm just really good at
it. I might read this.
I convinced my sister to read it.
You convinced her. She just said she might read it.
I've convinced you. What can I? You just have to push through the first few chapters when he's just chilling at like school, because he gets kicked out pretty soon. So you like.
Okay.
Well, isn't the first
always
chapter?
Gets kicked out
I
of school.
vaporized my maths teacher.
Yeah, because he accidentally stabs her.
That's like wish fulfillment.
That sounds like something I'd do.
It's so cool, but like he's really funny, and all these terrible things always happen to him, and he's kind of like, why does this always happen to me? Everyone must hate, like all the gods must hate me, and it's really funny because everything he does is like kind of to spite them, but also he's like kind of like standing on a fine line because he doesn't also want to be killed because they always like all of the gods are always trying to kill him as well. Except when they need his help, and then they're like, well, we're not going to kill you anymore, like for now. So yeah. Even though he like literally saves them, but they're kind of like, yeah, but we saved ourselves, and he's like, no, you didn't. But they kind of want the credit, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, has anyone got anything to add? So yes, you're right. Alyssa has been very comprehensive. I mean, Miranda, welcome by the way. It's good to have you with us. Have you got anything you want to say about the Percy Jackson series?
Well, not really. I like that it's sort of like in between normal life and like Greek mythology.
Yes. It makes Greek mythology has become a lot more. Loads of people are interested in now, and I think this series has a lot to do with it.
Greek poetry.
But Alyssa made the point about how I can identify with all these issues, because sometimes when you think of fantasy, you think it's a whole other world, but actually by situating it in reality with the characters you can identify with that have the same concerns as us, that makes it
and he crosses
easier to
it
read.
over. He makes some of the historical figures like children, like demigods and stuff as well, and it's like and it's set in different countries, like different parts. Like there are characters from like one of the people is raised in England, and she loves Ribena. I feel like Rip's never been to England.
Of course, what I should add to what I've just said there is a fantasy series that is set in the real world. As in, Percy Jackson, he is an American high school student. Now we think of high fantasy, Lord of the Rings being a good example, and Mr. Stone here at some point is going to talk to us about Lord of the Rings as a big fan. I mean, high fantasy, that's a completely different world. But would you agree that the characters are people we can identify with, and there are very relatable concerns to our world?
Yeah, I think in every fantasy series there's always an element of relating back to personal struggles, and you find that in high fantasy or even in sort of
urban fantasy is one way to describe it.
I think urban fantasy is certainly a good way of describing it, but you could easily put those characters in something that wasn't set in sort of nowadays the US or the UK, and they would still feel very relatable. So that's what I like about the fantasy series quite a lot. So
yeah, absolutely. And this is where Bibliotherapy comes in. So what I was saying when I read from this book. So identify with the character, tick. Catharsis, connect with your own emotions and release them. Yep, tick. And insights.
I can always comfort myself by thinking, at least my life is not as bad as his.
That's what I mean by
Fine.
reading sad.
That works.
No,
it works.
No matter what goes wrong in my life, he's always got it worse.
This isn't actually that bad.
Your own situation based on the issues faced by the character. Tick.
Yeah.
Whether it's even if it's defining against them by saying at least my life's not as bad.
Sometimes I just read like a really depressing book and I'm really sad, and then it's like, oh, actually this is.
He's also always talking about how rent's really high in America, and I think, well, at least I don't live in America.
Rent's not particularly low here either.
But his life seems worse, especially when they've got like all the gods chilling right next door. just like there.
But I don't know that at first.
I just-
but yes.
He doesn't know that at first.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Thank you,
Crazy.
Alyssa. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. That's
Everyone
great.
should read it who hasn't read it because it's super good. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Who would like to go next?
And the TV show's coming out December.
Any of you want to go next? Mix it up. Now, go on, Annabelle, as the only one with her hand up.
So, I have two. I'm going to talk about one very briefly because this is a book that I feel like everyone has to read because it's just they have to read it. But like
Oh, you got the second one.
the first one wasn't there. But I feel like getting into a phase of this reminds me of the dark times of my Twilight phase.
Oh yeah, I got you into that, so you
I
have
know.
me to thank.
Thank you.
Welcome everybody.
So, I have two books. I have Red, White, and Royal Blue. This is, I think this is a really, like, relatable. Well, I feel like this is like,
What's the basic story?
okay, so it's about this guy and his mother is the president of the United States, and then there's this other guy and he is a prince, and then they live
Prince of which country?
UK.
But like
And-
distantly.
Yeah, kind.
Like he's like.
He's
yeah.
the spare.
No, he's like the grandson.
Yeah,
of the
something like that.
queen.
Anyway.
I think it's the grandson.
But they live in different countries because it's like the US, the UK, and they at the very start of the book they have like an enemy. They're enemies, and they both hate each other
Because of an incident.
because of an incident. But
But
I can't even. It wasn't even that big of a deal to be honest. But like, and I can remember what it was.
it was something at like a like.
But that's a
polo
spoiler.
Game. It was like a polo game.
No, it wasn't. The polo game. Anyways,
Oh,
yeah. So they hate each other, and they slowly are forced to hang out with each other at these events and stuff. And they're like, and then they start to like each other, and it's a vibe. And then they start dating, and then it's like, but what would you actually do to protect the throne? Because Prince Henry, he can't date him, so.
Okay.
'Cause
so
he's a prince.
So why is this one that you turn to when you want to pick yourself up?
Well,
a bit?
it's just like quite like a cute romance, and it's like I don't know. It's like yeah, because it's also got like struggles in there, so it doesn't show that everyone's perfect and like oh this life's perfect, but it does have struggles. But it's also like how to overcome the struggles and be happy, and it's like.
So you just find it very uplifting and very
I do,
heartwarming.
and I find it very easy to read.
Well, have you read it?
I have. I was the one who told her to read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't find it uplifting?
Oh, I haven't read it in a long time, but they spend the entire book skirting around the fact that they like each other, because
So,
they're both their parents are like in positions of power.
Exactly.
And they're, like,
So it's
and
difficult.
so they're like they're scared to face it, and also one of them hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's all sorts of baggage, and it's a
Yeah.
will they, won't they, isn't it?
Mhm.
Which is a classic thing. A will they, won't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen loads of those, and that's part of the. And it was made into a was it TV series? or
movie.
A movie.
Oh yeah,
I've
it's
watched
got
the
that
movie,
one
like,
guy and
18
that one other
times.
guy.
Oh my god, yeah.
Okay.
It's got the guy from
Thanks.
Kissing Booth.
That's good to know.
It's got the guy from Kissing Booth, and then it's got
Yeah.
the
Wait, does
other
it?
guy. Yeah.
Was that him?
Marco.
Was
The one with the really nice eyelashes.
I haven't watched it.
Sounds
since,
dreamy. Okay, so there's that one, and we also have another one, don't
Oh,
we?
we do. We have Twilight here. I actually have 2 copies of Twilight by my bed. Whenever I wake up in the middle
Hang
of
on,
the
yeah,
night.
2 copies of the first book. Why is that?
I don't know. I have 4 copies, and they're all the same copies. It's not like that.
They're not different editions.
I bought mine on eBay because my mum refused to buy them.
I don't know why, but
Okay,
my mum
right.
just had 4, and I don't know why. She just did. She went through a massive Twilight phase. It was worse than
Okay.
mine. But
Now, I don't
anyway.
think we need to talk about the story is. You'll know by now what the
Okay.
story Twilight is. So why, like saying, same question,
Okay.
why this one?
Well, I just think it is such an easy read. It's just really easy, and it's quite funny, but it's not meant to be funny.
You
but
know what
it's
an easy
funny.
read is? This is, you could say this is an easy read.
No, but that's like
So,
no, but this is an easy read because it's actually got like you can get hooked on it, but like without realizing, and then get like stuck in halfway through the book.
too.
I know,
So you can easily be like, all these.
alright, okay, can we just let Annabelle speak?
but her life kind of it does suck, but she kind of over dramatizes it a bit, and it's like, and she's quite a character you find quite funny, but not for the reason because she's funny, just because of the reason because she's just a bit like. Not
So, what are you getting at here with this one? Again, why is
Okay,
this
what
like
are the
I turn
things
to it
in
when I
there?
need to be?
What are the things in there? The
You want me to do that again?
Yeah.
Okay. So, identification. The reader identifies with and connects with
Yeah,
the text or
because
relevant character.
She does have kind of problems going on as well because like she's
That you can identify with?
and kind of everyone can identify with because she's at a new school and she doesn't really know anyone. And it's like sometimes you can be in a new class and you don't know anyone. Sometimes you can go to a new club and you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of like navigating and like your influences of other people telling you what, like shaping what you think about people.
Yeah, good. So then there was catharsis.
What's that mean?
The text enables the readers to connect with their own emotions and release these.
Yeah, because it's like you can connect with your emotions because it's kind of like a romance as well, and it's kind of like
And we all love a bit of romance.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah. And then lastly was insight. Provides insight into the reader's own situation based on the issues faced by the character and allows the individual to consolidate this insight and learning in a therapeutic fashion.
Yeah, because it's kind of like this is fantasy, so it's never really gonna happen.
It's not like urban fantasy, it's obviously set in
and
America.
because the vampires don't exist. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the fantasy
people who
element.
don't believe in vampires, but they don't exist. And it's like this is never gonna happen to you, but you can take things out of it that like.
Well,
benefit you,
it may
you know?
never happen to you that. How old is Edward? 300 years old or whatever he is. 108 years old. Is it going to come in and sweep you off your feet and all the rest of it? But you might have a human being who comes in and breaks your heart, and then you might get involved in a love triangle. Remember the Team Jacob v Team Edward?
Oh my god!
Stuff.
Sophie played
So-
Team Jacob.
I actually was like I was her enemy for like a year because of that. In year 7, I just wouldn't talk to her because she was Team Jacob.
Wow, it's actually seeping into friendship dynamics now.
Exactly.
So
But
this is pretty influential, this book, isn't it?
I told her to read it.
it's all your fault, Alyssa.
I know.
Mr. Do you mind if I bring you into this on the basis of what you told me earlier? Do I have your permission?
Go for it.
Yeah, so just before we started filming, actually, I think you all heard this, right? Mr. Stone, when he was, what year were you?
Oh, I think I was year 9.
Year 9, you
I
think?
was year 9.
Mr. Stone, it was actually one of his, and I can't believe this is one of his set texts when he studied English at school. Now, as someone who's formally studied, was it just the first book? I
think only the first book.
Only the
but
first
by
book.
then, possibly, yeah.
Okay.
The
So
first book's the best. The second one gets too deep, and then the rest of them are just too deep and too
diminishing
goofy.
that's the law of diminishing returns.
And it's kind of
Sequels
just
getting
like
worse.
it's just too much stuff is going on. And it's like, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. Like, I need to run from these people who are
Again, you're not really making me want to read it. But Mr. Stone, as someone who has formally studied the book, what's your take on it?
It was a while ago, and I don't remember a whole lot of it.
I think that says a lot, doesn't it?
I do remember it being. I do remember it being a little bit confusing because there was something at the start that described the way the mother looked, and they said that the daughter was similar, or they described Bella and the mother looked similar, but we didn't really know what each of them looked like. And I remember that being quite confusing.
Yeah, that was mentioned. Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose as a teenage boy, wasn't really my the text that I would go to.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have necessarily been the book that I took off the shelf. So it was quite a struggle for me. It was a little bit of a slog.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No.
But I just think that
No convincing him otherwise.
no, but I think
Fair enough.
it's
There you
a
go.
good. No, I think it's a good book to read, but like because I read it in year 7, I loved it, and I think it kind of got me into the dystopian kind of fantasy.
It's not really a dystopia, though, is it?
Fantasy and
Fantasy, yeah.
like romance books because it was.
Can I just add dystopias? If anyone turns to a dystopia as bibliotherapy, probably not the most obvious thing to do. Just want to put that in
I
there.
do that.
So do I.
All of these
984 is one of my
actually,
favourite
this
books.
One isn't, this one isn't.
Actually,
These
all
two
of those are, aren't they?
Well,
Interesting.
no,
All right,
wait,
well,
hang on, Sasimi is, but this one isn't because it's
okay.
kind of set in the past. Wait, no, I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with
dystopia.
dystopia. There's loads of great books. 984 is one of my favourite books, for instance. Handmaid's Tale is another great one. But for bibliotherapy, I'm not so sure. Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, what was I saying?
Sorry if I
It's
stole
okay.
your train of
I
thought.
kind of
think it's a good
I was saying
gateway
how it's like
Good
dystopian.
gateway book.
I think a good gateway book to fantasy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think if you're trying to like, I'm not saying it's like the best book for people who read a lot because they're kind of be a bit disappointed by it.
What do you mean by that? The best book for people who read a lot.
It's not the best book. That's
For
what
people
I
who
say.
read a lot.
Yeah,
Why do you, but why do you
because
say that?
it's like not really. I think they'll just find the characters a bit annoying, and the plot a bit annoying. But I think it's a very good book to read if you want to get into fantasy and get into romance books. And I think that's what I'm going to say about it. And it's a good book to like have read. I feel like everyone's read it. Like most people have read
either
it.
love it or hate it.
And you either love it or
Yeah.
hate it. And it kind of shows, like, it's kind of like, if you hate this, I don't think you're going to like any, well, some of the fantasy books.
Well,
If you're trying to...
I wouldn't agree with that either, but
'Cause,
we-
well,
we- that,
wait.
that's a discussion for another day, I think.
Well, I
Who
think
hates it?
this will kind of, if you do like it, it will kind of like help you look for other books. That
Are there
you also
vampire
like.
books?
I feel like
Yeah.
if you
Think
like-
of Dracula and
Yeah, exactly.
Interview with the Vampire.
I read that and then I read Crave.
You read Dracula?
No, Twilight.
Ah.
And then I read like the Crave series, and I thought I
Okay.
liked Crave a lot better because the first book's quite similar.
There's a lot of, in like Harry
Yeah.
Potter, Hunger Games, all these books that have been a big success, Midmost and Ladylike, things have followed in their wake that, not
Yeah.
copycat, but similar.
Yeah.
There was a lot of vampire books that followed in the wake of Twilight.
The
There were a
first-
lot of
there
that.
were-
The first
there were
Crave
so
book
many.
is making fun of it, and I thought that was
Oh,
really
good, a
funny.
bit of parody. I like a bit of parody.
At one point, it's like because it's got vampires, and at one point, like the guy gives the girl a
Okay.
copy of it. But then the other books are completely different. It was really good. Though.
Yeah, I
You
think
got it, Annabelle. You should read that.
it's kind of like this book has inspired so much, I feel.
Oh yeah,
And it's-
I'm not.
everyone
I'm not denying that.
kind of knows the book Twilight. It's not like, and I feel like it's something to read, but it's not if you want to have a really good like technical read or like of a really really like I don't know.
And
But it's
this is
quite
why
an
I was
easy
interested
read.
that it was a set text
Yeah.
for that reason.
But it's
Sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah.
I think what it does really well is it divides people, but in a very good way. In that,
Yeah.
I didn't particularly like the book. I've only ever read the first one, but I distinctly remember being Team Jacob, having never read the other books.
Yeah.
And so I think it did really well at just dividing people, which made people talk about it, which made more people read it. So,
It's 'cause
Yeah.
Jacob doesn't stalk her.
well,
But I personally didn't like Jacob. I can't lie. He
Yeah.
got on my nerves.
And also his hair in the
Maybe we
Yeah.
should have a whole Litsoc of Twilight if we got this many things to talk about. But
Yeah.
I think for now we'll move on. So thank you, Annabelle, very much. Okay, who would like to go next? Come on, folks. Yes, come on, Samira. The book you've got is one that
I
will
have
generate
another-
much discussion.
I have another book I want to talk about.
That's fine.
Two
That's
books.
fine.
So I wanted to talk about one of them is Heartstopper. Has everybody read Heartstopper?
Yeah.
Or,
I know-
again,
I know you
at least we'll
haven't.
have you.
I have heard of it, but I have not
I
read
know
it.
you
Okay.
haven't read it, but it's like about these two boys who kind of like Percy Jackson, slow burn through the books. Like they fall in love in the second, I think.
Yeah, they don't
First
fall
one.
in love immediately. It
First
takes a bit of
one.
time.
Well, they
First, then Charlie
Guys.
falls in love with the first, but then
He totally falls.
No,
He's just
yeah,
in
yeah,
denial.
just, like,
He's
straight
in
away.
denial.
he's just in denial. Yeah.
But then there's the Charlie's best friend, Towel. I want to call him annoying.
He's so funny.
That like the way he tries to get Charlie away from Nick is just
Oh,
no. Mm-mm. But like I don't know what to say about this.
Well,
The people
how?
who read it.
Yeah, I'll do this again for you.
Oh.
So how identification identifies with and connects with the text or relevant character. Do you identify with Charlie?
No, not me, but other people I'm sure.
Who do you identify? Well, are there other characters you identify with? Maybe.
There was Tao, and then there was another friend of Charlie.
Al.
Yeah,
Or
kind of.
Aled.
Aled, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I identify with Alid more than anyone in the book.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
He's my favourite
I've
character.
been told I'm really similar to
Definitely.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Towel.
Why do I
And
always
then
have these
Nick.
really depressing characters?
I think I'm giving like.
Do we have Charlie and Nick over here?
Yeah.
Who'd have thought that? Okay, so the other thing,
Last year.
catharsis. Do you connect emotionally with it?
Last year.
Yeah.
How do you connect emotionally with it?
It's just
How does it make you feel reading it?
this was one of the first comic books I've actually read. So probably I was quite intrigued with.
Was the illustration? You think the illustrations did
The
something?
illustrations were good because before my parents didn't really allow me to read comic books.
Shocking.
So-
Children
Yeah,
how to read
my
comic
brother
books,
reads.
Anyway, okay,
This
so
was
so
interesting.
do you think? Yeah, open it up, have a look. What is it about the artistic style you think is so effective?
They really show the emotions of characters in this. They like most comic books just have 3 emotions: either determined, sad, happy, or angry. This actually like deepens into the emotions, I would say.
Okay,
At least for
you
me.
say it does it better than I don't know
Then-
Asterix.
From the books I've read before this, it does it a lot better.
Okay.
Because I've read only 2 comics before.
Has anyone
so-
seen? I'm sure you must have the TV series.
Yeah.
So have you noticed one thing they do in that? Just to stick with the imagery theme, is they have the recurring motif of the feathers.
Yeah.
going-
The leaves.
The leaves.
The leaves, sorry, not the feathers.
I have them
Yeah.
all
So
over my room.
have you noticed when they do that? When
They have the purple blobs.
yes, but for the leaves, there you go, there they are.
Mm.
When do they do that
When they're
in the
happy.
TV series? Yeah, or more specifically,
Oh, when-
Romance.
Yeah.
yeah, it's they're not just
Romance.
happy, but like heart-stopping,
Oh, yeah, when they're
happy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's like understatement, showing, not telling, which is obviously a
Yeah.
great literary
Yeah.
device. So there you go. So there's one, and this is what the medium of the graphic novel / comic book allows you to do in a way that a novel doesn't. And lastly, insights about based on issues faced by the character, allowing you to consolidate this insight and learning in a therapeutic fashion.
Yeah, I would say so because I don't know. Because
Well, essentially, again,
Just,
it's
yes.
issues that they face. So think of some of the issues. You don't have to, it's up to you what you
School.
reveal to us. Yeah, school. You all have to go to school.
Ah.
And you have to navigate school, and school can be tricky,
Yeah.
right? So,
after this book, I started worrying about my GCSEs. I'm gonna just confess, start worrying.
please don't worry about GCSEs yet. So you're still in year 7.
Year 5.
I'm so worried about my
That's-
GCSEs and it's
Try not
scary.
to, folks. Try not to. It is a bit.
Got a long time.
I
Yeah,
should be
exactly.
worried, but I'm not.
Try to enjoy things like your
My
summer
sister's
holiday
doing it
that
right
you've
now.
got coming up
She's
first before
stressing.
you worry about your GCSE
If
in 2 or
I-
3 years' time.
If I start thinking about my summer holiday, I'm gonna fail my exams, so I can't think about that.
You need to have balance. You need to be able to switch off. You've got to have capacity for these. If you're just obsessed
Yeah.
with exams the whole time, you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, you need to
That's
like
what-
lock in
But
for
But so
short
many things
periods
go
of
wrong. My
time.
sister didn't get called for her exam, and she's doing like GCSEs.
Don't worry about your sister. I know that sounds a bit cruel to say. Do worry about your sister because she's your sister. But your situation is 2 years away, and that's going to be.
2 years is very close.
Yeah.
This year's gone so fast. I don't know
I'm
why.
doing
4
I'm
years
doing
is
coursework
close.
ones, which means I actually have to write next year.
NEAs.
Yeah. I'm doing
Only 4
music
years.
and art.
I'm doing art and D2.
Okay.
That's so
And
long.
PRS and triple science.
So
Picking-
much homework.
Picking things that you enjoy, I hope.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
those are all governed by what you enjoy staging.
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's not get too bogged down in
Like
talk about the
maths.
SHS curriculum. This is Litsoc. Litzoc's to be a haven away from that sort of thing. So, Samira, in conclusion, anything you want to add?
I have another book I want to talk about.
Oh, you want another book? Yeah, go for it.
I don't have the book with me because from what I know it's not in the library, but I want to talk about Spy Family.
Okay.
I've recently started reading it and I'm on 9 I think right now, but it's about this family and then there's this guy, Twilight, and he kind of has this mission to get into like his daughter into the school. So he goes and adopts a daughter, but the daughter is secretly a telepath. But then to get through the interview, he needs a wife. So, but his wife is an assassin. Like, they don't know each other's identity. I think it was 4th, 5th, maybe. Maybe it's actually 3rd. I think like around 3rd to 5th volume, the brother of the wife came in, and he was a policeman. So it kind of just builds up, like. To be honest, if I was like to call myself down, I would go to the book because it's kind of. It keeps you in. It keeps you hooked in
Sounds
the
like
book.
a thriller. It sounds almost like the Anthony Horowitz, Stormbreaker kind of
It's-
series.
It counts as an adventure and romance book by.
Oh, it's romance too. Okay.
By Google, as much as I know. It's a comic book as well.
Oh, it's a comic book as well.
It's a graphic
Okay.
novel, yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it manga?
It's manga.
Oh, it's a manga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because we got quite a few manga. Any manga fans around the table?
My brother, he's reading Spy Family at the moment, and he's also reading
Okay.
other.
So maybe we don't know as much about manga. I mean, I know a little bit of manga. I've read a bit here and there, but Naruto is very popular. Read that?
Haven't read it, but I've heard about that a
Okay.
lot.
And another one, which I probably shouldn't recommend to you guys, is Akira. Have you heard Akira?
I have to.
Yeah, that's a bit of that's an older one. It's very good, but it's very dark and probably a bit too grown up for most of you. But yeah, manga's great as well. So okay, so that one is that another one that you feel like you can identify with emotionally, or with the characters and the issues?
Yeah, because I don't know.
Because and unless I'm guessing that your family you have got a spy in the family, and if you did, you're probably not allowed to tell us.
My parents, yeah, no.
So you're not on camera?
No, not my parents, not my parents, but
Oh,
like,
okay, but again, don't say it on camera because otherwise we might get in trouble. But also don't tell us anyway, because it's supposed to be a secret. Okay, so what's it called again? Sorry, the
Spy Family.
Spy Family. Okay, I take it no one else has heard of this one because I haven't heard of it.
No.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, Samir. Thank you very much. Okay, now Miranda, I know it's your first time. If you don't want to, that's fine. No one is forced to speak if they don't want to. But was there anything you wanted to talk about?
No.
No. Okay, that's fine. You can sit and listen. Holly, have you got anything? No. Okay, Mr. Stone, would you like to take the seat?
Yeah, I can take.
Go on, Mr. Stone.
There we go. Oh. So, for me, bibliotherapy, I think, is less about the content of the book, but more about the nostalgia for me. So I typically turn to Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter is a big one from when I was growing up. But the main one I want to talk about, we actually don't have it here in the library, is a teenage horror book or series that's known as the Demon Arter series. And the first one in particular is called Lord Loss. It's about a demon hunting family that both fight demons and play chess at the same time. It sounds very confusing, but in essence there's a sort of a time bubble and they play chess, and on the outside people are fighting in slow motion. It's not the best book in the world, but it was the first book that I read cover to cover if we ignore like Mr. Men and sort of the real children's books. And I remember going to my local library in Molesey when I was like 8 or 9, taking out the next book constantly. So, I don't necessarily relate to it as much now, being twice, 3 times the age I was when I read it. It's more just the nostalgia of reading it for me, I think, which is quite nice.
As well as it being the first book you read cover to cover, post Mr. Men, etc. What was it that you really liked about it? Was it just the demons?
It was just hunting demons. Yeah, it was for an 8-9-year-old boy, it was a pretty cool thing to read. And I played a lot of chess, so I think I did relate to it a little bit. Just chess wasn't a very cool thing when I was younger.
Anyone like chess?
I'm playing chess on Duolingo. I've got a 10-day streak.
You're among friends.
like
here.
it.
It's 11 days. I've almost beat my chess score.
Yeah, chess. I mean, certainly since a couple of things have come out, like the Queen's Gambit, chess has become much more popular. But certainly when I was younger, chess was not a popular game in the slightest. So, so just reading something about cool demon hunters that played chess was quite cool for a young boy. I haven't read it for a little while now, but it is every so often I'll just go back to it, and I'll usually get it from a library, so I'm not going to buy it. But I'll take it out and just read the first one. I think all in all there's like 13 or 14 books. I never actually got through them all.
I was going to ask you read his other famous series, Sector Freak.
No, I never read that one. Yeah,
because I can't remember it's been a long time since I read it, and I only read the first one of that. But it's a similar kind of vibe. Did you read anything else? Any other horrors? Whether it was Demon Hunters or nay?
No, when I was younger, no, I didn't. It was the only horror book I read, and I caught on to Stephen King very late. So I didn't start Stephen King until I was about 17 or 18.
You can see that someone over here has started a bit soon.
Yeah.
I mean, Stephen King, he doesn't just write horror. We should add.
No,
he's
he
written
doesn't.
some great stuff.
Yeah.
That's not horror.
Yeah.
But his horror,
his horror is particularly good. Yeah.
Got a favourite?
Oh, probably Carrie.
That's my
Yeah.
favourite.
That was
I
his
really
first.
liked Carrie.
That was his
Yeah.
first. You know the story behind that, right? How he put it in the bin because he didn't think it was good enough, and his wife convinced him to fish it out
No, I did not know
to
that.
finish it off. And it's his first, his most famous. But yeah, Misery's another one. Obviously, a lot of them made into
Misery's great.
films. Shining. We have a few of them there. The Dark Tower series is considered his magnum opus with the.
Yeah,
Gunslinger.
I've only finished 5 of those. I still need to do the other 2. But,
I mean, it's a big series.
It is very good. Yeah.
So, are you a horror fan, Mr. Stone?
I am. I more read fantasy.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of when the fantasy I read is epic fantasy, and sometimes they can be sometimes you just sort of get to the point where you just can't read any more epic fantasy. So I just throw in some horror to break it up a little bit. So
Fair enough. And we were talking, Twilight is, I suppose, is the presence of vampires. That's kind of a horror inspired by Dracula. That's a book, if you like vampires, right, that you should definitely read. Anyone wants to recommend to Mr. Stone, seeing as he's shared with us a horror from his younger days? Anyone want to recommend to him a horror book that they might have read recently?
Well,
Maybe horror's not for everyone,
I
but
know.
if it is for you, can anyone? Because one thing that Anthony Horowitz mentioned earlier, he did the what's it called, the Power of Five series, that's a good YA horror series. Skullduggery Pleasant is kind of a horror too. Anyone read Skullduggery
Grace
Pleasant?
read that. She tried to get me to read. Is that the one that's
Grace
like
Jacob.
there and it's got like 600 books?
Yeah, there's a lot of books. It's kind of like Percy Jackson.
She was.
Hi Miranda,
bye.
good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
She tried to get me to read that.
Yeah, there's a lot of books in the series, and so Grace is a big fan. Yeah, they're very popular. It's also a comedy because it is about demon hunting. That's why it's sprung to mind.
Yeah.
But there's lots of bickering between the two main characters, Skullduggery
She
Pleasant
loves
and
demon hunting.
whatever her name is.
The Shadow
Yeah,
Hunters.
oh yeah, there you go, Shadowhunters. Yeah, again, it's very popular.
She loved that.
So yeah, so horror is still going strong as well. You'd be pleased to hear.
yeah, lots of urban fantasy / horror coming out
Yes.
recently as well. So I like the little bit of a mix. But
Okay, very good.
I still think everyone's
Thank you
really
very much, Mr. Stone. Thank you very much for your.
Same.
thank you.
You should
Thank
read
you.
it. You should take it out today.
All right. Oh, you have got something now. Yes. Come sit in the hot seats.
Okay. I don't know. It's not really a book. It's like an online comic.
Okay.
Which I love. I think it's amazing. I read it like every day. I would also say for bibliotherapy, what I often like is just like escapism.
Yep.
Through it. So I like at the moment I'm kind of rereading like Harry Potter, I think you mentioned, Hunger Games, Percy Jackson. Like I've just got like all my kind of old favourites, fantasies just kind of going on repeat. But there's this comic which I mean you can see a bit of the drawing here. I'll try and find.
Catechism, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like still ongoing, so I don't really know the full plot line yet, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to
It's
find
quite, as you're trying to find what you're looking for, that's quite a common thing, isn't it, online comics? In fact, Heartstopper has done
It
that
releases it early, guys,
Yeah.
in case you
Yeah.
want to read it early.
before they
releasing the
collect it
next
into
book.
the print version.
And it's free.
Yeah,
So
So if you want to get ahead of the curve. Because obviously Heartstopper 6, which I believe is the last one, is due out.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Yes,
you know what I
May
noticed? I noticed
2025.
something crazy. The book covers at the bottom. You know how they have the faces and the colours. It's in reverse rainbow order because it's like
I know.
LGBTQ plus.
Do you not know
I
that?
told you that. No,
I realised that on my wall.
and then
You've never
and then
told me.
Okay,
also
Annabelle.
and also their heads are turning because in each book it alternates between Nick and Charlie's head, and it starts with them facing away, and then in each one their heads turn like slightly closer, like turn slightly. Like if you look at if you
yeah,
look
the
like on
third
the side, if it's like when it's like on the side like that, he's like almost at the front, like and there's
okay.
like and then it like alternates between them.
Oh, so
Until
a
they're, like,
little
slowly.
online bonus. Okay. You
Yeah.
found what you're looking for?
Crazy.
Not really, but
Okay.
there are a lot of like similar ones where there are just these like amazing like spreads like this, which I don't know. I think this
wow.
drawing style is so good, and the layout is done so well, and there are so many like little bits. Yeah, I think it's also very easy to just kind of get into. I think with like graphic novels and comics, that's often quite easy because you can, obviously just immediately visualize it. Often quite fast paced. So yeah, I'd recommend that.
So who's the author of this?
Um,
Can you remember? If you can't remember, don't worry.
there's Emily Ju is the illustrator, and someone
Okay.
called Selena. I know Emily is like an animator at Disney, but I don't know much about
Oh,
that.
okay. So when did it start? How long has it been going for?
I think near the beginning of my year 12, so
Oh,
like
so
last
it's
year.
very new then.
Yeah,
so we're
yeah.
talking about 2 years old, and I suppose it's ongoing. So we don't know how long it's going to go on for.
Yeah.
And it's I agree. The artist style looks very beautiful. So it's escapism. You recommend it mostly for? Is it like a sort of what's it? Fantasy romance? That's the vibe I'm getting from the very little I saw there. Or would you describe it in another way?
It's basically like the plot line so far is there's like a sleeping sickness, which leaves like a lot of people going into comas,
Okay.
and
Dystopia.
you can make it better with magic, but you need this like plant to do the magic, and people are like controlling that, and then there's like going to be like a revolution because the people want it because too many people are getting ill from it, and the main character is like near the forefront of that.
Right. Sounds a bit like Black Mirror, a Black Mirror episode. Everyone's been familiar with that. So yeah, very very dystopian, but it's clearly entertaining, and you can't wait for the next. How often do they release a new installment?
Like about every 3 months, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you have to be patient then. It's not like
Yeah.
Okay, but when they release a 3 monthly installment, it's quite a lot, I'm assuming.
It's like normally about 20 pages.
Okay.
You have to be quite patient.
You do.
But it's so good.
But it's so worth it, right? Okay.
7 pages a month, each time.
Yeah, but it's a good way to keep. I mean, look, that's something that goes back. Like Dickens used to do that. He used to his big epic novels that we associate big doorstop novels, but they're released in serials.
Like I do read some
segments.
online comics that
So,
you have to.
so it's been around for centuries. This idea of releasing things sequentially, and that's what soap operas do. So keep you on cliffhangers.
I think what I love though is that when I was young in the 90s, maybe it's just because I wasn't in the know, but the only comics that existed were superhero comics.
Yeah.
And now there's so many. I mean, obviously manga has come much more into it as well, which is similar. But I love that there's so much more than just superhero comics.
There are, and we could do a whole Litsoc on non-superhero. We got quite a few examples over there. There's so many, but yeah, we're going to that now. We'll be here for another half an hour. But yeah, you're right. It's a recommend. Heartstopper is an example. It's not superheroes. It's much more respected as a medium these days, which is great because it can be, when done well, it can be brilliant. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Holly. Thank you. Right. Okay. Now, just before we wrap up, folks, I'm gonna think ahead a little. We don't normally do this, but you need to know this. Obviously, we haven't got a Litsoc next week, but the first one back after half term, we're doing debates. Paperbacks at dawn. Now, I'm going up against Miss Huntley, God help me, doing Jane Eyre versus Pride and Prejudice. We have got, I spoke to Lucy and Frida earlier. They're going to do a dystopian themed one. I think it's Mortal Engines versus Slated, I think they're doing. So you two seem like an obvious matchup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you don't have to decide right now.
So you have to pick 2 books that are like similar, but like
No.
So like for an example, like someone doing like The Naturals versus The Inheritance Games.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Would
you
you-
haven't read either of them, have you?
Yeah, obviously, it needs to be something that you can both...
Are you
talk about.
very passionate about The Inheritance Games, or are you kind of like meh?
Okay, so you don't have to decide right now.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
it's just so you know this is what's coming. Now, Holly, I don't. It is a bit trickier to do year 13 kind of because we don't know. Same with the year 11s, of course. Mrs. Stone, are you planning on joining us perhaps for that one?
The first week after the half term, I can be here the first
Yeah.
week after the half term.
How do you feel about going up against someone?
I could do that if you have some fantasy readers.
Well, I'm happy. I might have to do double duty here. You might have to go up against me because I don't know if. Now, Samir, I'm leaving you out in the cold a bit here. Perhaps you could go up against Frida and Lucy. Who could Samir go up
get
against?
my friend in here if me and her mom can agree to drop her off back at Richmond. If we can agree on that, I can try to get her in here.
Who's your friend?
Jasmine from 7P.
Oh yeah.
Because she read the Hunger Games with the Percy Jackson Hunger Game, if I can. Something like that. I
Yeah.
can try to get her in here.
Okay, I
It's
mean,
like
if you can, look,
I can.
we'll figure something out. But we've got at least 3 matches, possibly 4. And yeah, the thing is, I would think that you against the year 13 would work very well, but because they're on study leave, it's a bit tricky. But like I said, maybe I'll go up against you. We could do Lord of the Rings versus
That
Game
makes
of
me
Thrones.
slightly nervous, but
I think if it's any consolation, the people will probably side with the underdog. Although they didn't side with me last time when I went up against Miss Huntley. Anyone who goes up against Miss Huntley is the underdog.
What did you try to?
It was Narnia versus Earthsea.
Or which
Are you here for
that's a good one.
I've heard someone talking about Odyssey before. I have that.
It's really good. It's really
My
good.
dad tried to get me to read it.
Anyway, so that concludes it. So good luck with your exams, everyone. And remember, Bibliotherapy is your friend. Obviously, you had time to read after exams, so choose your book wisely.
Oh
You
yeah.
can choose one from
I
here
got
if you
my
want.
friend to read
So
a sad book and she started crying.
We don't want people to be crying in exams, please.
Millie.
Okay, but seriously, good luck with the exams and have a good half term when you get to it. Let's wave bye to the camera. Bye. Bye. All right.